lives one day at a time. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. They're here to get your day going fine. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. And here's your host, Miss Kim Rodney.
Ordinary person, living life on the edge of expectation. Ever since my life took on a new direction, I've been living life contrary to condemnation. Because God, you had mercy on me. You revealed your son in me. Opened my eyes and now I see to live my life more abundantly. I'm walking by faith and not by sight, in your power and not my own might. And I live to die, so you can increase and I decrease. You're wonderful, yes you are. Tremendous, yes you are. Exceptional, yes you are. And I see, but I see so differently. And I know that I was lost, but now I'm
Hello, hello, hello to all of our wonderful listeners out there in the internet. This is Dr. Rodney Pearson, and this is Crises Radio on Elation Magazine. We are so glad to be with you all tonight. It's 7 o'clock here, well, a little after 7 o'clock here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm just so glad, so happy tonight. I'm happy for a few reasons. One, we had a massive hurricane, Hurricane Maria, Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Irma, just all kinds of Jose hurricanes that have just been hitting. We've lost a lot of lives, but I'm here tonight to do what we do on Crises, and that's to celebrate survivors. Certainly, we are hurting because there have been many people who have lost lives, lost loved ones, lost property, lost all kinds of personal possessions. But I got a chance to talk to a dear friend of mine who survived the hurricane. It hurt my feelings when I saw Bishop Curtis Parker, good friend of mine, grew up together, known him since I was 9 years old, just one of my best friends in the world. Looked on Facebook one night during the hurricane Harvey. He lives in Houston. Looked up, and there was a picture of him and his family, knee-high, waist-high in water, walking with their possessions on their back, and I was so saddened to see that picture. We put together a Facebook account for him to try to help him out, and so many people responded. But my blessing was being able to talk to him and his dear wife this week and hear that they were doing well. They were survivors, and they made it through. So I just thank God that they got a chance to see the devastation and help others, even though it was a terrible, terrible scene. But we're all about surviving and making it through. So I praise God that they are survivors. And so many others, thousands and thousands of others, who were also survivors. I have relatives there, survivors, all of that. Just so glad. Anyway, I want you to be in prayer for my co-host, Miss Christina, who was not able to be with us tonight. She had a horrible accident and sent pictures of where, I don't know whether it was a cut or some kind of injury she got that was causing the left side of her nose. There's some blood. Anyway, that's what the picture said. So remember our co-host, Christina. I don't know if she's going to be able to even be with us tonight. She had to go to ER, but I don't think she'll be with us tonight. If she does, great. But if she can't make it, just please remember her in prayer. But we have a great show tonight. We have a wonderful show. I have a friend who I met some years ago. She was basically homeless, and we heard her story, her tremendous story of how she, was able to survive some devastating, traumatic situations. And I called her and told her to come and be on my show tonight. I got a chance to see her. She came by the house. And I'm just glad that I have the privilege of being able to introduce many of you to Miss Sabrina Lemon. Sabrina, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, great. Sabrina Lemon, right here in Phoenix, Arizona, and she's from Florida, so I'm sure that she had some people who may have been displaced and what have you down there as well. Did you have anyone, Sabrina, who was affected that you know of?
No, my family survived. They doing all right.
Good. All right, praise God for that. So anyway, Serena's on our show tonight because Serena is one of those people who survived some things that most of us would not even be able to live through. She is a victim of domestic violence and sexual abuse and homelessness. Had just all kinds of things happen. Had a traumatic brain injury. Just things that most people, when you hear Serena's story, you just kind of say to yourself, how could somebody survive this? And I just couldn't wait to get her on the radio and tell her story. And I'm going to tell you ahead of time. Now, Serena keeps me laughing, okay? Serena, she keeps me going because in spite of all of her tragedies, Serena is one of the happiest people that you will ever meet. She has her down days like any of us, but this girl, I'm telling you, you are going to enjoy this show. So, Serena, say hello to the audience.
Hello, audience. How are you guys doing?
And, Serena, why don't you tell them a little bit about your story? Let's start with how you grew up. Let's talk about that, because that growing up that you had, it was just devastating. So let's start off by, you got into the foster care system. Let's tell the audience, how did you end up as a foster child?
I ended up in the foster care system due to my parents neglecting me. And just being in the foster care, I had a wonderful foster mother, but she was very verbal abused, and she said many horrible things to me that you wouldn't even think that you should say to a child. And some of the things she spoke over my life have broken me in my spirit, where I could completely where I could have gave up on life, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And that's how my upbringing.
Now, Serena, some people would say, how is it that you said you had a good foster mother, but she treated you so bad? Now, that's confusing for some people. Why don't you tell us, how is it that you feel that she was a good mother, but just treated you so horribly?
Well, when I think about it, I think about her upbringing and how she was raised. And most times, if we was raised a certain way, we normally pass that down to our kids. And my foster mother, she had good intentions raising us, how she was a good mother. She made sure we had everything we need. We didn't have to want for nothing. And so that's what I mean by she's being a good mother.
So she was a good provider.
Yes.
Okay, and she cared for the kids.
Yes.
And how many foster kids were there in the home? Was it just you?
No, it was 6 of us. And 3 of her grandkids.
6 foster kids?
Yes.
Wow. They don't even allow that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 6 foster kids, and you said that she was verbally abusive.
Yes.
Okay. Now, was she physically abusive as well?
No, she wasn't.
Okay, so she wasn't the physical abuser. All right. So tell us a little bit more about what was it like growing up with those 6 kids?
It was some good time. It was some bad times. Just like normal kids, we all kick and fight with each other, get in trouble, get on punishment. But most of all, we always was like brothers and sisters. We always defend each other, always looked out for each other.
Okay. And the abuse, you were telling me, the abuse actually came from kids outside of the family, huh?
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about how that went.
With kids, growing up, I was bullied on a lot by kids in my neighborhood, constantly picking at me, teasing at me, calling me all types of names. So to deal with that, I just closed myself in, because if I wasn't getting it from my neighborhood, I was normally getting it from my brothers and sisters in the house.
Oh, okay. So how did your brothers and sisters in the house treat you?
They picked and teased at me.
They teased as well?
Yes.
Okay. So you got teased from your foster brothers and sisters as well as your neighbors.
Yes, and also going to school too in elementary.
And going to school. Wow. Now, what kind of teasing were these people doing?
It was more like name calling, were calling me ugly, calling me forehead, go ahead, saying what I'm going to get for Christmas is a blowhead sprinkler.
Oh, my Lord. Serena, it's amazing you can laugh at that now.
So it's just things that people they just said the most ridiculous things that you be like, where did these kids come up with this?
Now, why did they talk about your forehead? Let the audience know about that.
Because due to my head trauma, my forehead it was big. It was like, because I haven't grown into my face, so just imagine if your forehead just sticking out there, and it's just big. So,
all right. Now, they don't know about your trauma. Why don't you tell them what happened?
Well, my
your
trauma,
forehead trauma.
In my trauma, I was beaten in the head with a broom at the age 3 years old. I don't know the person
3 years
who did
old.
It.
You said you don't know?
No, I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All you know is that you were beat. Now that means you were hit several times in the head with a broomstick?
I don't remember because as being 3 years old, you really don't remember that much.
Right. Okay. But all you know is that it caused your forehead to swell up.
Yes.
And it stayed swollen for some years, huh?
Yes.
Now, was that for most of your childhood it was like that?
Yes.
Wow. And that's where you got the brain, traumatic brain injury.
Yes.
Okay. So you were physically beat. Now, was that the only beating? Were there other, beatings that you received?
No, only if I act up. My mother gave me a whooping. But that's about it. But otherwise, she never put her hands on me.
So that was pretty normal for back in that day. Kids got whoopings. That they don't pretty much get that now, but they do. But that situation where you got hit in the head, that was unusual, huh?
Yes, I had to learn how to walk all over again, talk all over again. I had to learn how to eat, and also had to go to a special handicap school just for me to learn all those skills over.
Oh, wow. So you were really knocked out then, huh?
Yes.
Okay. So the kids talked about you when you were growing up. All right, let's talk about teenage life. What was teenage life like?
Teenage life, I was very, when I entered into high school, I was very afraid to go into high school, dealt with claustrophobia, where I was afraid to be around people, so it really took me a long time to adjust to high school, where I actually started walking in my high school building at 11th grade. I was mostly quiet to myself. I would normally go in the corner and read a book because I was dealing with so much stuff at home that school was the only way for an outlet for me to have a peace of mind.
Oh, okay. Now, were you enduring abuse as a teenager as well?
Mostly still verbal abuse, the name calling.
So that happened for most of your childhood years, huh?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. What about friends? Did you have friends growing up?
Yes, I had friends. My friends, they were nice and loving to me.
Okay. It was just that those cruel kids who talked about you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how did your friends act when they saw you, sitting in the corner and not engaging with other students?
Most of the time, they didn't know. Most of the time, I went somewhere where somebody couldn't see me.
So you were in school and basically just hiding out from people just so that you can be alone, so people wouldn't talk about
Yes.
Pretty horrific thing to have to go through as a teenager, because most teenagers, they try to have, a lot of a social life and, go to the little teen gatherings, little teen dances and parties and stuff like that. Did you participate in those things?
Only thing I mostly participated in was summer camp. And going to summer camp, I stopped going to summer camp because I was being picked and teased on at summer camp. And my mom was the type of mom, she really didn't let us go out in the community. She kept us home a lot. So I was very homebound. I had a strict mother.
Very strict mother.
Yes.
Okay. Now, was this your foster mother as well?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure that we understand that. Okay. So, teenage life was a life of a lot of isolation. Really didn't have a lot of friends. And did you have to go to a special school?
No, I was always in special education classes.
You were in special ed classes, okay. But
yes.
You went to a regular school?
Yes.
All right. Did you graduate with your class and all of that?
Yes, I did.
Good. Now, that's something to be proud about, that you were able to do that.
Yes.
Okay. So now adult life starts. Tell us about that life, because that's the life that I'm most familiar with, where you started telling us what it was like living on the streets and all of that kind of stuff. Tell us about that life.
Well, my adult life started when I went to Job Corps, which I did graduate with Job Corps with business education. So when I got out to San Diego, California, that's when life began to take a turn for me. That's when I started into prostitution, because I felt like I wasn't wanted at home where I was living at. And so I just found myself in that world prostituting, end up going to jail for 3 days, and then started back up again, then end up going just for a day. And then next thing you know, I was on probation, a 3-year probation without no supervisor. So basically, what that means, that I couldn't be seen on the track, which is a place for women prostitute, that we call it the track. And I wasn't able to be allowed to be seen on that. But if a cop saw me on that road, they could take me to jail automatically.
What do you think led you into prostitution?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I thought about my mom.
Yeah, we want you to be honest.
I thought about my real mom. My real mom was a prostitute, and I was always curious of her lifestyle. Like, I felt like if I lived her lifestyle, that I could still be connected to her, because my mom passed away when I was 17. So,
did you ever know your mom?
No, I never. I knew my mom when I was a little girl. I met her when I saw her before I went in the foster home. She had visitation rights. But then after that, I never heard from her again until I was 10 years old. Then found out in the newspaper she passed away from AIDS.
Oh, from AIDS. With your mom passing away from AIDS, did it scare you to be out there in the streets?
No, it didn't. No, it didn't scare me. No, it didn't scare me, because I always prayed and asked God to protect over me.
What? Okay, wait a minute. Serena, you saying you asked God to protect over you when you were prostituting?
Yes.
I guess that's the best time to ask, right?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So that just kind of took away the fear.
Yeah. And so because I was just trying to and when I tried it, I said, this is what my mother did. I said, this is nasty. So I didn't stay in it for too long. And so I ended up getting a job. So I ended up getting a job out at San Diego, working at McDonald's, doing good. Then next thing you know, I ended up quitting my job because my friend, she quit her job, so I decided I'll quit too. So that's when I was into. That's when I was. That's when I was
just
into
quit
smoking.
because your friend quit.
Huh?
You
Yeah,
just
because
quit
she was my smoking. She was my smoking buddy at the job.
Your smoking buddy.
Yeah, at the job. We used to get high at the job on our lunch break, and then come back to work.
Okay, so by now you got involved in drugs then.
Yeah.
Okay, we missed that part. When did that start?
Well, that started at 18 years old.
Okay, so that's when you got to San Diego.
No, that's when I moved to Virginia. I started smoking weed.
Okay, you started smoking weed and doing drugs in Virginia when you were 18. Then you moved to San Diego, and that's when you started prostituting.
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing. So you and your friend quit your smoking buddy. You guys quit your job, and
so she quit. She quit the job, so it was just me left, and I felt like it was boring without her there, so I just quit my job too.
It was boring. Okay, that's the way a teenager thinks, right?
Yes.
Okay.
21. I was 21. I was a young adult, so I wasn't in my teens.
You were in your teens then, okay. So what happened after that? You were doing that prostitution and doing drugs, and then what happened?
Then I was human sex trafficking. I got human sex trafficking from San Diego, from LA to all the way to Arizona, and that's how I came out to Arizona through human sex trafficking.
Wow. So just so that our listeners will understand what that is, why don't you explain what does it mean to be used in a human sexual trafficking ring? Talk to us about what that life was all about.
Basically what that is just another just a pimp bringing you over from one state to another. It could, human sex trafficking could come in all different forms, different ways, but mine came through somebody bringing me out from another state to out here. And while I was out here, he kept me in a hotel locked up. Only time I could come out was to work. And oftentimes I wouldn't make no money for him because he would get mad at me because I would be out there talking about the word of God to the people on the street. And he would tell me, excuse me for my language, he would tell me, he said, you a hoe. You ain't supposed to be out here saving these hoes. Do your job. And so I refused to do my job with him, so he ended up leaving me on the street, and that's how I became homeless out here in Arizona.
So you were preaching the gospel to the other prostitutes?
Say it again?
I said you were preaching the gospel to the other prostitutes?
Yes.
While you were prostituting too?
Well, I really didn't prostitute because after I got caught 3 times, I just shift my focus and say, you know, I'm going to start ministering the gospel to the women out here on the street. And I just walked up into them and said, huh?
How did you get involved in the human trafficking?
Well, it was a guy from L.A. that brought me out here.
Okay. And he met you on the streets?
Yes, he met me on the street downtown L.A. because I was homeless out there in downtown L.A.
Oh, okay. So you were homeless, and he called himself presenting to you, hey, here's a better life if you come with me and, you know, have sex with a few guys here and there, but I'll treat you good. Is that kind of how that was?
Yes.
Okay. And so you just kind of saw him as that's your easy way out.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So go ahead. Tell us the story.
Well, being out there on the streets, being homeless, where I just being homeless at 21 years old because my pimp left me on the street. I found it very, very difficult because without having no family support, it was very hard because I'm in a new state, don't know anybody, and you ask people questions, they're like they can't speak to you. And so I had to begin to find my own resources to get back on my feet. And so I went through CAST, homeless shelter, back in 2005.
And CAS, for those of you who don't know Arizona, CAS is the system for homeless people here in Phoenix. Whenever they need a place to sleep or whatever, it's one of the overnight shelters that's here. Is that correct, Serena?
Yes.
Okay. So
and at that time it was the overflow shelter.
The overflow.
Yes, because CAS wasn't, the building that you see down there at CAS, that building wasn't even built yet.
Okay.
And they're called the overflow shelter. So we had to stand in this long line in order to get a bed every night. And if you missed out and get no bed, you just didn't have no bed. And so one night I didn't make it in on time to get a bed, so I had to end up sleeping in Tempe in these abandoned apartments. And when I walked in there, it was blankets and pillows. I said, God, thank you.
Wow. In an abandoned apartment.
Yes, where they vacate, nobody's supposed to be living in there. And I just went in there, and it was like pillows and blankets. And I just laid in there, got up the next morning at 5 o'clock and left, because that's the time when we were staying in the shelter. That's the time they have us up out the doors at 5 o'clock in the morning. And you ask yourself, what is you to do at 5 o'clock in the morning when it's cold? You ain't got nowhere to go.
Huh.
Wow. So that was the most terrible. That was the most terrible feeling I ever felt. And I wake up every morning and ask myself, why do people end up homeless? What is it? And I couldn't get the clue. But I would never hang out with the homeless, because I would tell them, I'm going towards the light and getting out the darkness. And they're like, what do you mean by that? And I would say, light is God and darkness is the devil. And I would actually go to the library during that time, read books. We'll have to go shower up in McDonald's to get myself prepared for the day, wearing the same clothes. But I made sure I always looked presentable. And then I found another program called Timberweed Program for young adults.
What was it called? Your voice is kind of muffled now. You said it was called what? Hello? 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 Can't hear you. Look like we're having some tough technical difficulties here. We can't hear you. Let's see. For some reason, we can't hear her now. I'm just going to send them. Yeah, okay, there you are.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I made a mistake and hung up.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yes,
You're back
so
with
the
us
name,
now, though.
Yes. So the name of the program was called Timberweed Program for Young Adults. And that program provides showers and food for you and clothes for you.
All right. So you would go there, get yourself cleaned up, and go out back into the world, even though you are homeless.
Yes, and just continue to look for, while they was looking for resources for where they could place me at, I just go to the library every day and just hang out there, or sometimes I go to the park and just hang out with the homeless people and just talk with them and just eat food, whatever they served in the community at that time for the homeless people. I would just sit out there and just eat, but never once never once when I was homeless, I never felt down or sad about my situation because I always knew that there was brighter days ahead of me. I just had to go through the process.
I gotcha. And you said that living there, that was the worst situation, living in those apartments like that?
Well, I was only in the apartment for a night. Then the next night
okay.
I was back at the
Okay, you're back at the shelter. Okay.
Yes.
So this is a lot of moving around, going from here to there, from bed to bed, and all of that stuff, right?
Yes.
Wow. How did it feel to just be homeless like that and not not knowing from day to day where you would sleep or how you would eat? How did that feel?
Actually, I didn't worry about that. I didn't, because I just stayed focused on God and just praised Him along the way and continue to keep my spirit uplifted when I was going through that time and encouraging other people going through that time. And for some reason, God always provided a meal for me. He always provided somewhere to lay my head down. So I never really had to worry about that, because homeless people in Arizona, they eat all day.
Homeless people in Arizona eat all day.
They do.
Now, so you trying to tell me that these homeless people that look hungry, that they are not really hungry?
No, they're not hungry. Because somewhere along the line, you got somebody coming out there with some food. It's somewhere you're going to find some food. And homeless people are very manipulative, so they know how to get what they need.
Oh, okay. Because those people that I see on the street that are homeless, they look like they are really having a tough time.
Yeah, they're having a tough time mentally because they don't know how to pull themselves out of it, but physically they eating just fine.
Wow, okay. Well, that's a new one. That's a new one for me. Of course, I have never been homeless before, so I don't know what that's really like.
Yeah, it's a whole nother world.
It's a whole nother world, okay.
Yes.
So you finally decided you didn't want to live and like that, apparently, right?
Yeah, I actually got to the point where I felt like if things begin to go good in my life, I would find a way to self-sabotage, because in my mentality, while I was thinking, I thought it was fun being homeless, because no responsibility, didn't have to answer to nobody, and I could come and please as I go. And so as I got older and older, I was like, no, Sabrina, this is getting too old for this now. You got to start changing your ways.
Okay, all right. And what did you do?
I ended up going into this one program called Dignity House Program for Women that Prostitute. And I was in that program, so it really taught me a lot about, it was older women that are prostitute. I was still a baby, so I really didn't have the experience like they had. And so, but they encouraged me. We went to PA, Prostitution Anonymous classes, Narcotics Anonymous classes. Any classes they had, we went to it.
Okay. And that was all about trying to make a change?
Yes.
All right.
And then, then the owner of the program, she thought that the program didn't fit for me, so she put me in another lady program that was a Christian lady, and I actually had the apartment to myself. And then she ended up closing down the program, so I found myself back homeless again.
Oh,
didn't have nowhere. Yeah, found myself homeless again. Had a job, working, thought I had somewhere to secure my head down at night.
All right.
Then found myself homeless again. Then end up stripping in the strip club.
So you went from prostitution to dancing?
Yes, to dancing.
Okay, in the club, strip club?
Yes.
All right. Now, were you doing prostituting? Were you selling yourself while you were in the club too?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. So you stuck to the dancing part?
Yes, I stuck to the dancing part.
All right. Okay. How long did that last?
It just lasted for a week because one of my guy friends that I met at the time, he introduced me to come to his church. And mind that even though I was dancing in the club, I always got off stage and went in the bathroom and thank God for the money I made for today.
Oh,
and I gave God praises and everything that I went through.
Okay. But wait a minute. You got invited to church by a friend who came to the club.
Yeah. No, we was doing flyers that day. I was doing a promotional for the club, so I went by this barber shop and was doing flyers there. And then I noticed
for
the club. And then I noticed that going through that situation, I was back homeless again.
Oh, my Lord.
I was like, this ain't going to never end. But I always had a positive outlook, and I started going to church on Sunday. Then I met one of the ladies in the church that asked me to come to her house. And I told her no at the beginning. She asked me to come over for dinner. I told her no at the beginning because I wanted to because I told her I have to go to work. And she said, well, you have to go to work at? I said, I have to go to the strip club. And after I was just getting done with church, I was still thinking that I have to go to the strip club because this is my job and this is my means of survival. And so, but she didn't say nothing. She said, okay. She just walked away. But then I just felt a nudge in my spirit to say, go, Sabrina. So I went to her house and everything, and that's when she introduced me to a program called Better Well Life for women that was getting out of jail. But me, I wasn't the case. I was just homeless, getting off the street. So I was in that program for about a year.
So let me ask you, when you were dancing, where were you living then?
I was living at this guy's house and everything, but it didn't last too long. So
didn't last long. Okay.
No.
So then you went to a Better Way of Living. Go ahead.
I went to Better Well Life, and that's where that's why I was starting to get my foundation and growing in the Lord and everything. And then I got kicked out of her program because I had a very bad attitude with my mouth. I couldn't control my mouth.
Yeah, you do have quite a mouth.
Yeah. So she ended up kicking me out of her house, and next thing you know, I was back homeless again.
Homeless again.
All this happened when I was about 22.
Oh my goodness.
22. I was like, ooh. Then that's when I ran into a good friend of mine. He let me stay in their home with him and his wife. And it was a blessing to me, but I wouldn't receive the help that they was giving me.
No,
I wasn't, because I wasn't ready. Being a mental health patient, I wasn't ready to accept that. I wasn't ready to deal with it. So I was in much denial as they was trying to help me, that I wouldn't receive from them, and they had their best intention in me that I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it at that time, so I ended up leaving there, going to stay with somebody else, and then end up leaving there, going to stay with somebody, then moving into my apartment. Couldn't have the money to pay for my apartment, then found myself back homeless again.
Lord.
Yes.
My goodness. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're homeless again. And then what happened?
End up getting an unhealthy relationship with this man that got me on drugs, which I started doing crack cocaine.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, doing that for about 2 years while I was with him. And oftentimes I would try to find myself going to church during that time. But I couldn't because I was busy getting high. And I was going through a major depression during that time, just dealing with depression, being just depression. Didn't want to leave out the house. Didn't want to do nothing. Didn't want to get a job. Just just being depressed.
Now, had we met you by then?
Yes.
We met you by then, okay. And you were going through this depression. Okay, then what happened?
And then I end up moving to L.A. with him. Then I end up homeless out there in L.A. again.
Oh, boy. Homeless. You just stayed homeless. How did you get homeless in L.A.?
Because his mother didn't want me living there with him in her home, and so she told me I had to leave, and that's when I got to see the true color of the guy that I was dating, see who he really was, and so I couldn't take it no more out being a homeless in L.A. because I said it's too expensive to be out here and be homeless. So I left, came back to Arizona, ended up staying with a friend and let me stay there for a night. Then I ended up going to stay with my lady friend who owned the program, Better Well Life, ended up staying in her home. And that's when I began to become productive back into society.
Wow. Serena, I'm sure that our listeners are just hearing this story, and it's hard to believe that a person could just go through all of this kind of stuff. But you survived. I mean, I want to tell our listeners, I mean, you ended up getting a job as a peer support person. You ended up, continuing to work, but you've had some great things to celebrate, but you still kind of went back and forth, right?
Yes, I was still going up and down with drug addiction, still trying to hold a job, and just going through the motions. And finally, I got to that place in my life where I said, I am tired. Yeah. And I surrendered my life over to God. And since I surrendered my life, everything has been going beautiful for me. I now have a condo.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm going to therapy now, so I get help once for that.
Good.
And so,
and you're trying to get back in school, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get back into school.
Right.
So for the meantime, I just help other women that's going through what I'm going through and just encourage them in their process.
That is tremendous. Now, I hope our audience see this is why our radio station and our radio show, rather, is here. I mean, here's the life of a person who just had, the tragedies of childhood, a person living on the street, homeless, prostituting, drug addiction, just living in the streets back and forth, and now you have this life that you've settled in. You have a nice place. It looks like that life is really starting to look good for you, that you're really getting some ahead. You're really moving forward. I mean, how do you feel after going through all of that? And, here you are now on the other side of it. You're a survivor. Sabrina, you're a survivor. How do you feel now with all of that in the background?
I feel wonderful because it allowed me to see that what I was going through wasn't for me. It was for somebody else that's going to be going through it, that I'm be able to help them, bring them out of it. So it was like all that I went through was a purpose.
It was a purpose. Yeah. It was a purpose. My goodness. Now, what about the people who knew you when you were going through all of this? What do they say now? Do you ever get a chance to talk to people? I mean, of course, me and my wife, we see you, we know what you've been through, and we're really happy to see that, you're making this progress forward. It's been slow, but it's been sure. Are there other people that see you and see where you come from? And, what do you say when you see those people?
Most people really didn't know that I was going through anything because I kept it so well. I really never showed my problems to people, never talked about my problems. People, I was always the uplift and encouragement to other people. and just would hide behind a mask. And people ask me how I was doing. I'm like, oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. And I like, if they could give the best fashion award for being homeless, they should give that to me.
Yeah, I remember trying to help you. Because
I always stayed nice and presentable, so people thought I was never homeless.
I know, that's what I'm getting ready to say. I remember taking you down to get services, and I'd have to tell you, Sabrina, why are you dressing like you're going to a job interview? You're going to get services. Why are you looking so good and got yourself all dressed up, and you're going to ask people for help?
Because it made me feel good. It's like I always never wanted to show people that I felt that if I look good and I dress good, then I would feel good about myself. But if I dress like the way I look and the way I feel, then that would make me more depressed.
Okay, all right. So you were just trying to deal with your inner self.
Yes.
All right. There's another thing I want you to share with our listeners. Now, you went through a time where you were really, really angry at the church. You told me something the other night about how you had to learn that you couldn't blame the church, you couldn't blame the people, and you had to take responsibility for yourself. Why don't you share a little bit of that with our listeners too? Because that was hard for us to see you going through that.
I left the church because I was angry and mad at the church, and was very bitter. Didn't want to deal with the church. Didn't want to go back to church. But once I started getting myself back into God spoke this to me. He told me. He said, what did he say to me? He said, yes, He said, I don't overlook other people's hurts, what they did to you, but he said, I look at your heart position and where you went wrong at. And so I began to pray, and I began to pray and ask God, I said, God, show me where I went wrong at. And God began to show me where I went wrong at, and I was able to mend back that brokenness and actually go back to that church and apologize in front of the whole congregation on how I left the church. And from there, I felt relief because God says in the Bible that we're supposed to, if you have a brother with your sisters in Christ, go fix that before you come to the altar with your gift. And I knew that I couldn't come to the altar and ask God for anything to do in my life until I fixed that issue. And I knew that I need to go back and fix this issue. And once I did, I felt a lifting of my spirit that I was like, God, thank you for taking me through that process of being hurt by the church. Because oftentimes people leave the church and get mad but have not prayed and I have not sought God and asked God, like, what is going on? And God basically dealing with our heart position and where we went wrong at. And it's not God is not overlooking the person that hurt you, but he also dealing with you too just as well. And so once I got that understanding and that revelation, I began to talk to other people about church hurt, began to talk to people to understand that God is your ultimate priority. He's the one that called you out. He's the one he said he knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. So just because you get hurt by the church doesn't mean you should walk away from God.
And people don't always realize that people in the church are not all perfect. Sometimes they're just doing the best they can.
They can. Yeah, they human. And then one thing God was showing me, as oftentimes we put pastors up on pedestals and stuff like that we forget that they're human, that they're going to make mistakes. They're not perfect. And it says somewhere in Corinthians chapter 3, he said, we're all in the same seeking boat. And he said, you see one of your brothers or sisters down, our job is to restore them back, not condemn them. And oftentimes people leave the church, they talk about the past, they say mean things, but they're not realizing that God said to uplift and to encourage one another. He didn't say tear down.
Right.
And that's basically what I did. I came back and I started rebuilding the relationship rebuilding to gain trust, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the relationship that I have today of going through that process, allowing God to open my eyes to see the truth.
And obviously, I was a part of a lot of that you're speaking about. Did you ever think that we would be here on the radio like this, having this conversation after all we went through?
No, I never thought it in a million years. I never thought it, but I always knew that when I said, God, when I go back to church, God, I need to mend back the relationships that I've broken, to mend that back and to get back in step. But I knew that was my ultimate goal, to go back and to mend back that relationship. Otherwise, I knew I couldn't move forward.
And I'm so glad that you did. It just does my heart so well when I see what you're doing. You are back in church now. You are, I understand that you're an honor bearer in church. Is that correct?
Well, right now, I'm sitting down right now. I stopped working all positions inside the church just to sit down and be taught right now.
Okay. But you're in church now, and you look like that you want to start back in school. What do you want to do when you go back to school? What do you want to do?
To be a counselor.
Okay, you want to be a counselor. All right. That is just tremendous. You know, I just got my counseling license just this week. After so long of working on it, I just got my license this week.
I am proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, this has really been a joy. I am so glad that you were willing to share and to be so honest and so open. You always amaze me because no matter how bad things look, you seem to just take the best attitude about things. Here you were out in the streets, homeless, and praying and asking God to bless you and touching people and speaking into their lives and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm just so happy. I really am. We only got a couple of minutes, Sabrina, and I want to tell you that we're glad to celebrate you tonight, to celebrate you as a survivor. I know that you have a long ways to go. You're still building, you're still growing. But what are the final words that you would like to leave with our audience? What words of advice would you like to give to those people who are listening to you and listening to your story?
Don't get moved by your circumstances. Don't get moved by the things that's going on around you, because oftentimes you get moved by that. And that's one thing I had to learn, was not to get moved by my circumstances, and not to get moved, and just to stay focused and continue to push through my process.
Wow. Well, I think that you've done that, and I hope that, you can let your friends, relatives, and whatever know that you spoke tonight to thousands of people all over the world. They're hearing your story. They're hearing your encouragement. And I just pray that you continue to move forward, continue to speak into the lives of those people, just like you did in the streets. But I'm just happy for you, glad to be a part of your life. And I just want to say to all of our crises listeners that you can make it, that no matter what situation you're in, you can make it. There's a whole lot that Savannah didn't even bring up tonight. But just know that if you're out there and you're discouraged, maybe you're dealing with church hurt, maybe you're dealing with family hurt, whatever you're dealing with, just know that you can make it. And that's what this show is about, surviving. That's the end of our show. Serena, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Amen. So glad that you're with us. And to all of our crises listeners, thanks again for tuning in. We'll be back next week, 7 o'clock. Hopefully our dear co-host, Miss Christina E., will be back with us. We're going to check on her to see if she's doing okay. But thank you again for tuning in, and we look forward to hearing from you. You need to call in and let us know what you think of our show. Go to my website, nomordv.net, as we continue to end this cycle of domestic violence. God bless you all. And agape always, thanks again. Have a great night. Thanks, Serena. Bye-bye to everyone.
Bye-bye.
Stranded, lost, just caught in a daze, branded, an outcast, life passed on you away, broken, defeated, you can't seem to win, so you cry out, holy, because you need a friend. Stop crying, crying, he'll be there through the night. Stop denying, denying, he's able to change your life. No more hurting, hurting, joy comes in the light. I can see you breaking and praying that something will go right. Call on him and he'll set you free. Alpha, Omega, you're my beginning and my end. Father, my Savior, you're a healer and a friend. Master Jehovah, my life is in your hands. I am free. Confused, distracted, no focus to your calling. Your feelings useless, depression has you falling. You're praying, fasting, believing in a chance. So you cry out, holy, you need deliverance. Stop crying, crying, he'll be there through the night. Stop denying, denying, he's able to change your life. No more hurting, hurting, joy comes in the light. I can see you breaking and praying that something will go right. Just call on him, 'cause he'll set you free. Alpha, Omega, you're my beginning and my end. Father, my Savior, you're a healer and a friend. Master Jehovah, you see my life is in your hands. Set me free. Said no more chains, no more chains. Said no more chains, no more chains. Said no more chains. chains. No more chains. No more chains. No more chains. No more chains. That I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. No more chains. No more chains. There are no more chains. No more chains. I see no more chains. No more chains. It looks like I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. No more chains. No more chains. No more chains. No more chains. There are no more chains. No more chains. That I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. No more chains. No more chains. No more chains. No more chains. When I look through my life, no more chains. That I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. No more chains are gone. No more chains are gone away. No more chains. That I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. Hallelujah. I'm so glad I'm free.